Hi, I'm Jillian and welcome to the show. I offer spiritual growth for the rebel soul, guiding you through the labyrinth of your own ascension path. This show is for the rebel souls that challenge the status quo, those that crave authenticity in every single aspect of their lives, that desire to embrace their uniqueness, follow their passions, connect to their soul and live according to who they truly are, even if that means having the courage to go against the grain or the norms of society. If that's you, my spiritual soul seeker, rebel warrior, then this is the place for you. On this podcast, we speak about everything from spirituality, sexuality, conscious relationships, business, and literally everything in between. So if that's your jam, then stay tuned. And go on, be a rebel and subscribe. You know you want to. Hey beautiful souls, welcome back to the podcast. And today we're diving into a topic that people either low-key love or kind of freak out about when they first hear about it, and that is soul contracts. Now, I'm not talking about this from a theoretical place, right? Like I've plucked this out of the ether. I see this all the time. So as a psychic and energy healer, a spiritual teacher, and past life regression therapist, I have watched soul contracts play out over and over in relationships, in chronic blocks, in life patterns that just won't seem to quit. And even actually they show up in people's physical symptoms too. You know, I've seen them come up in deep healing sessions when someone suddenly remembers an agreement they made in a past life, or when they realize that the person who hurt them the most was actually someone that they love deeply on a soul level. You know, this topic is so layered, it's so nuanced, so let's dive into it. Okay, so soul contracts, what the hell are they anyway? You know, at the most basic level, a soul contract is an energetic agreement. It's an agreement that you made before incarnating into this life. Just, I guess, think of it like a spiritual contract that you sign up for before your soul jumps back into a human body. And that contract might include things like who your parents would be, key relationships you'd have, you know, including breakups, major lessons you'd face, health challenges, you know, themes like betrayal, abandonment, love, leadership, grief, trust, you know, you get the idea, like all of these come up. Even the blocks that you came here to finally move through, you know, you chose these contracts with your higher self and your soul council, you know, with the intention of growth and evolution. And, you know, yes, sometimes that you even make contracts with other souls to come into this lifetime and trigger the exact wound that you're here to heal. You know, and often, more often than not, unfortunately, it's the ones that actually hurt you the most that were actually playing the role that you asked of them. Yes, I'm going to say that again. It's the ones that hurt you the most were actually the ones that were playing the role that you asked them to play. I know, right? It's almost like soul improv theater, right? It's like, you know, up in ethers before we reincarnate, we're like, okay, I'll be the one who cheats on you so you finally remember your worth. Or I'll ghost you in your 30s so you finally break your abandonment wound and stop, you know, chasing emotionally unavailable people. Like that is basically what happens in this planning stage. It is all for our highest evolution and our highest growth, even though at the time, it definitely might not feel like that, you know? And, you know, why are we making these contracts? Why do we make these contracts? Like from my work and from what comes from client sessions and my own experiences, you know, as a soul, we're here to grow. We're here to expand. We're here to evolve. And again, sometimes growth doesn't come from, you know, rainbows and rose petals. It comes from having hard conversations. It comes from breakdowns, heartbreak, illness, betrayal, loss. You know, and not because life is cruel, and I know it feels like that at times, trust me, but because we actually asked for certain activations. You know, like our contracts were written in the in-between life spaces. Like it's called life between lives, right? You sit with your guides, you sit with your higher self, and you sit with your soul council. Yes, that's a thing. And, you know, you basically say, right, and you kind of like all agree at this higher level, you know, you have this higher perspective of what you want to develop and learn and move through and do an assessment of your previous lifetimes, right? And you might say like, okay, all right, this lifetime, I want to learn, I don't know, self-trust. So let's bring in some situations that force me to choose myself. You know, we make these contracts to learn the lessons that our soul wants to experience or to like complete. You know, sometimes it's about balance, right? Like, hey, I was a betrayer in the last lifetime. Now I want to learn forgiveness. Or I've been silenced in 3 lifetimes now. This time I want to reclaim my voice. You know, the goal actually isn't suffering. The goal is so not about suffering. The goal is about awareness. It's about liberation, and it's about soul growth, right? And once we set these contracts, boom, the timeline is set and the players enter stage left. So there are different kinds of soul contracts, right? Like there's more than one kind of soul contract. So let's like break this down, because, you know, not all soul contracts are created equal. Some are beautiful, some are messy, and some are like, wait, why the hell did I agree to this again? You know, I think your higher self was probably feeling a bit bold that day. But here are the main types I see again and again in my healing work and my past life journeys. The first, relationship contracts. So these are the ones that you're going to feel most deeply, right? The people that you feel most deeply for. Romantic partners, family, friends, foes are even in there, and exes. You know, the ones that still haunt your dreams. Like, yes, those are the soul contracts. And with these particular relationship contracts, you may have agreed to mirror each other's wounds for healing, right? You may have agreed to support each other's spiritual growth. You may have set up to learn boundaries through things like betrayal. Like, that is a really common one I've experienced myself. You might have set this contract to experience like unconditional love in this lifetime. You know, not all of these are meant to last forever. Some are meant to just ignite something and then exit. But, you know, these connections, they're always going to change you. So as I say this, I know there's a few of them popping into your head as we speak. Those are more than likely your relationship contracts. Then you have your karmic contracts, okay? These are the juicy, unfinished business from past lives ones. You know, do you ever meet someone and instantly feel an intense chemistry, or a rage, or a fear, or recognition, or dislike? Hello, unfinished business. This is what these are. You know, you might have betrayed someone in a past life, and now in this life, they might show up to test your integrity. You might have left someone else in another life, and you might, in this life, meet them again in another body, and you might feel irrationally obsessed with them. Who's been there? Hands up. Maybe you were persecuted for your gifts in a lifetime before, and then this lifetime, you have a fear around being seen. You know, karmic contracts will come with like this level of intensity, this urgency, this like emotional whiplash. You know, but these particular ones, they're here to be cleared, they're here to be rebalanced, and definitely not clung to. And then 3, we have ancestral contracts. So like this one kind of gets overlooked. I don't hear about people speaking about this that often, but these are the, you know, it's always been that way in my family type contracts, or, oh, my mom's like this, or whatever that pattern is. It's where, you know, the people in your family, your ancestral line, all the women stay small and silent. The men sacrifice themselves for others. We don't talk about emotions. No one leaves the hometown. You know, like, this is where addictions and that kind of thing can come in too. You know, you didn't just inherit like eye color from your family. You actually inherited energetic blueprints. But the good thing is, if you're the one that's becoming conscious of it, you're the one that's here to break it. And you probably already know that, right? You're the cycle breaker, you're the chain breaker, you're the generational trauma breaker. You are it. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. So, ancestral contracts. And then 4, we have vows and spiritual contracts. So, these ones are going to show up from past lives where basically you took a vow that maybe sounded noble or maybe felt right at the time, but now they're low-key sabotaging your life. You know, common ones that I've worked with a lot are vow of poverty, hello money blocks, vow of celibacy, hello money issues, a vow of obedience, hello people pleasing, a vow of silence, hello throat chakra shutdown. You know, the thing is with these ones, at the time you meant well, right? When you made them, you meant well, but they're still running the show, and it's basically time to cancel that subscription, because, you know, what you signed up to as a nun in in the 12th century is really not going to cut it now in this lifetime, right? So this is where we can clear these ones that are unconsciously running the show and causing these issues or patterns or blocks to show up in your life again and again and again. Okay? Then we have 5, purpose and mission contracts. So these are the ones that are like, why are you here ones, right? They're here, these are the contracts that will help you understand what you're here to do, to teach, to heal, to break cycles, to awaken a collective group, to embody a frequency that just shifts others by being near you. Like, these are the contracts that are probably going to come with a lot of resistance too, because like any when we're stepping into our spiritual mission or our spiritual purpose, there's always resistance, right? When we're stepping up to that next level, right? The resistance, the fear, the imposter syndrome, like these can feel so big. These contracts can feel massive, but with those blocks or with those fears, they can also come with like this fire. It's like you feel it in your bones when you're aligned with your soul contract, when you're aligned with your purpose, when you're aligned with your mission. That's these ones. And then 6, we actually have client and soul tribe contracts. Now, this is one for the healers, the coaches, the teachers, the space holders. You've got people who are meant to find you, right? You might feel like certain clients remember you, or you've worked together before in a different time, a different body, but the same soul. And sometimes you're meant to activate them, and sometimes they're meant to activate you, and sometimes both. These are really special relationships, especially again, if you're doing any spiritual healing work, you will definitely find these in your own journey. And then 7, we have event or trauma contracts. Now, this one can be a hard one to kind of understand, but also can be quite liberating to understand, because some souls choose to experience like a specific event to really catalyze a massive awakening or a redirection, and that doesn't mean that event was like meant to happen in like a moral sense, but on a soul level, it was part of your awakening path. What happened, the trauma that came from it was never your fault, but the healing, that is part of your evolution. And these contracts, they usually have a huge like soul growth attached to them when they're finally understood and when they're finally cleared. Okay, so let's get into some of the interesting stuff that I've seen, right? Because again, there's spiritual contract truths that I've discovered over my time doing this work, right? And so I'm just going to talk about a few of them now. So 1, the people that trigger you the most are often the ones your soul loves the most. I know that sounds crazy, but more than likely you've contracted these people to play the villain in this incarnation, so you could finally choose you. And on like a soul plane, a higher level, this soul loves you enough to do the dirty work. So this kind of really helps reshape, people that have done you dirty, people that have done you bad, those people that you've had those intense connection with and you've been hurt by them. Actually, on a soul level, a higher purpose, it's like you've contracted them to do that for your higher awakening, because they've chosen to do that because they love you, and probably vice versa, right? The experience that they've had with you has allowed them to evolve and triggered something in them for their own growth. 2, soul contracts don't mean that you have to stay, okay? So you might have made a contract that said, I'm going to stay in this marriage until I remember who I am. And once you do, then that contract is done. Staying after that is a choice, like definitely not an obligation. Not all contracts are meant to last a lifetime. That forever love might have only meant to last 6 months, but that 6 months was like friggin' soul shifting. So, all of it is valid. All of it's enough. You don't have to stay where you feel there's no more growth for you, okay? And this comes often, I see, with like spiritual people who are married, right? And they want to stay in this vow that they've made, but actually they have grown so much because they've done the inner healing work and their partner hasn't. And it's just creating the stagnancy now in their life where they're like 26 years into marriage and they're like, I know I've got to go, but I'm like so stuck and I'm afraid to go, right? So this is where you might have to release the soul contract with your partner. because you know it's not for your highest good. 3, past life vows often turn into contracts. So if you've made a vow in a past life, like it could have been a moment of pain when you maybe lost your partner tragically and you say, I'll never love again. Or if you had a lifetime as like a nun in a church, let's say, this is really common, right? The religious ones are so common because of our history. You might have made a vow like, I'll always put others first, or I must suffer to be spiritual, because, that's the kind of crap that, back in the day religion did. And those vows, they carry over, and of course, they're going to block the hell out of your abundance. They're going to block the hell out of your love life and your intuitive gifts until you actually find them and release them. Number 4, contracts can be outdated. Like I said, you made that agreement in a different body, a different energetic state, with a completely different level of awareness, but you are allowed to say, thanks for the lesson, but I am done. You don't have to finish a contract. Some contracts get rewritten, some you opt out of, some you can literally rip up energetically and say, I've learned a lesson and I release that now. So this is where we're going to get into the juicy part, right? Because knowing that you've got soul contracts is one thing, but doing something about it, that's where the power kicks in. And no, you do not need to suffer through them just because your soul signed off on it once upon a cosmic time. Like, you are not stuck. You can end, you can rewrite, you can clear the contract, with love, with intention, and with your spirit team backing you. You can do this. And this is the work that I do with my clients, right? So here's how we do this. So first, we spot the pattern, right? If it's looping, if it's a behavior, if it's a pattern you're noticing in your life, it's probably a contract. That same toxic dynamic that you're showing up in your relationships, right? You're meeting the same person in different bodies. That invisible ceiling you keep hitting every time you try to level up. That deep sense of guilt or obligation you just can't explain. That's where you start. Hone your awareness in, identify the pattern, what keeps looping, what's the lesson that's hiding underneath all that drama. That's where we start, right? Secondly, we call in our higher self and our spirit guides, okay? Your higher self is the one who probably signed that damn contract, right? So they're also the one that can help tear it up. So call them in. Ask your guides connected to divine love to show you what's still active, what's complete, what's ready to go. And you can literally say, if there are any soul contracts that are complete or no longer aligned with my path, I ask to be shown. I'm ready to release and transmute them with love. And then you might get a memory, a visual. Maybe you see the actual contract. Maybe you can see what's actually written on it. Maybe you get a sensation or just a knowing. I want you to trust that. Do that in meditation. Do that with your eyes closed. Journal, whatever feels good for you. You can find your own soul contracts. 3, do a soul contract clearing. Now, in healing sessions, this is what I do, right? This is a part and parcel of what I do. I guide people through releasing outdated, completed, unnecessary contracts. Again, you can do this with meditation. You can do this with your guides, or you can do it with a trained healer like myself. I've helped people release contracts around, everything. Poverty, martyrdom, staying single, playing small, wild stuff. 4, past life healing is great. So you can actually do past life healing, and it's actually one of the most direct ways to unravel a contract from its root. Because sometimes, like I said, the soul agreement was made hundreds of years ago in a lifetime where you took a vow, you suffered a loss, you caused harm, or you made a decision out of survival mode. And when you revisit that moment, with compassion, with understanding, you can shift that timeline. You can release the binding, and you can basically update your soul's GPS, right? This is not about erasing the past. It's about reclaiming your sovereignty and making a conscious choice now in this life. 5, energetic clearing and cord cutting. Now, let's talk energy hygiene here, because when a soul contract is active, there's often an energetic cord still tying you to a person, a pattern, a situation, and you might feel drained after interacting with someone. You might have obsessive thoughts. You might feel like you can't move on. And that's a cord. And thankfully, cords can be cut. Snip, snip. So again, cord cutting isn't about rejecting someone. It's about reclaiming your energy. And And when you cut a cord, it's not going to cut the love that is there between the two of you. It's just going to cut the things that are unhealthy, that's draining you, that's impacting you, right? So really simply, you can do this, right? You can visualize a cord between you and this person or this situation. You can see where it attaches to your body. You can call in your guides, your higher self, or like if you work with a particular archangel, like Michael is really great. Make sure that you stay connected to divine love, because there'll be some fake guides floating about. And then with intention, say, I now release this energetic cord. I keep the wisdom and I send the rest back to source. And then feel that shift. Seal your energy in with golden light or your own soul frequency. And you can just do this as often as you need, right? Especially after breakups, endings, big soul upgrades. Like, this is so good to do. And then 5, rewriting the contracts. Now, you don't have to cancel contracts. You can actually write new ones. You can start fresh, state what you want, like be really specific. So you can say it out loud, you can declare it in a ritual, you can write it on your mirror. You can say, gosh, if you have like a particular contract around relationships, you can now rewrite that and say something more empowering. Just trust what feels good. I now enter into relationships rooted in respect and mutual growth. You could say, I agree to abundance that flows with ease and integrity. You can say, I align only with soul lessons that empower and uplift me. You're not here to suffer for growth. You're here to expand in your own truth. So again, rewrite the contract. Trust what it wants to be downloaded. Trust what feels empowering for you to say and affirm in your new contract, right? Because again, releasing a contract doesn't mean the experience that it matter. It means that you've just learned what you needed, basically. And you can now choose something new, right? Like, you're not just the student of your soul. You are the author. Like, you've got that damn pen in your hand. And you get to revise the story at any time. And this is what a lot of people don't realize. And this is why going in and understanding these contracts, understanding the root causes of what's blocking you or what lessons you're here to learn, or what's next in your soul growth is so key, because it can really shift and change everything. Like, oh god, I've got so many examples of this, right? I had one client that I worked with who kept dating like narcissists. She of course was an empath, naturally. We went into a past life where she'd actually taken a vow of submission in a convent. Hey, religious programming. Hey, nun. Like 5 lifetimes ago, right? So she thought that being invisible was spiritual. And that vow that she made in that lifetime actually turned into a soul contract, which was, I'm going to stay small so others can shine. So she didn't even realize that she'd been playing that out literally in every area of her life, her love, her career, literally everything. So once we cleared that contract, she reclaimed her voice. And then what happened? Literally within weeks, she left a toxic relationship, and then her career just started to take off. Coincidence? I don't think so. I had another client that I worked with who had a soul contract that showed up as chronic people pleasing and burning herself out. In a past life, she'd been the only healer in her village. And during a plague and had taken a vow, I will always help others before myself. She'd basically taken this vow that I will basically take on the pain and suffering of everyone else, right? And then that vow basically became a contract that followed her into this life. And she kept attracting relationships where she gave everything, got crumbs in return, was cheated on, betrayed. Once we cleared that contract, boom. She left a job that was draining her dry. She cut ties with her energy vampire ex, and she launched her own spiritual business in less than 3 months. That's what happens when the soul gets free, right? And again, all of these contracts can come from this life, past lives, ancestral patterns, and this is the work that we go into with my coaching, with my healing. We navigate and understand exactly where those come from, and we clear them out at the source. So some final thoughts for you to go away with. Your soul contracts aren't here to punish you. They're really here to wake you up, right? And the beautiful thing is, once you're conscious of them, you are in your power. You decide to get, you decide what stays, you decide what goes, and you decide what is no longer in alignment. So, the next time that you're asking yourself, oh, why is this happening to me again? Why am I doing this again? Why have I attracted this person again? Why am I in this loop again? Why have I got no money again? Whatever it is. Maybe just take a breath and ask yourself, what contract is playing out here? And am I actually ready to release it? You're the one that's holding the pen. Like I said, you're not stuck. You're not doomed to repeat these same lessons that you created lifetimes ago or for whatever reason are here. You have the ability to look at your life and say, this pattern ends with me. This contract is complete. I choose a new way now. Your soul came here to wake up. And all of this is just part of the awakening. So that was your download for today, guys. If you love this episode, share it, tag me, tell me what hit home for you. And if you're ready to go deeper into identifying and clearing your own soul contracts, if you're ready to dive into past lives, this is the work that I do every day inside my healing sessions and my programs. Like, you don't have to decode it all alone. You're here to be supported. You're here to go dive deep and clear out things fast. Let's just clear that shit that's no longer serving you and actually step on the path that's really here to align with your soul. All the details to work with me in my private coaching program or my one-on-one sessions are below in the show notes. Plus, I've got a heap of free resources, workshops, masterclasses, meditations on my website that you can dive into that are going to support your spiritual and healing journey from the get-go. So until next time, my beautiful rebel souls, trust yourself, trust your own soul, because it always knows the way. Sending you lots of love.